Hello everyone, welcome back to Fletcher Creek Cottage. It is a chilly fall day. Winter is just around the corner, and today I am determined to get all of my outdoor furniture put away, things cleaned up, and all put away for the winter time. Once I have that done, I'm very excited because I'm going to move on to making my Christmas garland. As you can see, we had a very hard frost last night. This is the latest I've ever gone without putting my outdoor furniture away, but you can see the pavilion still has my ottomans, my wicker furniture, even the patio tables. So I've got a lot to clean up. I also need to go over to our porch swing and put away the mattress and all of the pillows. I've got a lot of rocking chairs that I keep on the porch. Those all have to get put away for winter before I can start decorating the porch. So now that I've got some of the cleaning done, we're gonna head down over the hill. I'm in my truck. I grabbed my snips. I've got them back here. I've got everything loaded up that I need because we're gonna head down our 2-track and go foraging for some pine branches. We have so many little tiny pine trees that are just springing up all over the place. Obviously, we want to keep our views and we don't want too many trees, especially pines growing up and blocking all of the views from the top of the hill where we've been building our house. Instead of clearing them out, I like to just wait until Christmas time. And then I drive down there, I trim a bunch of branches. I usually dig out a few pines, some smaller ones that I can put in some of my planters up here on the porch and probably over by the chicken coop. Maybe I'll put a tree or two by the garden fence. They're nothing fancy or anything. They're just scraggly little Charlie Brown Christmas trees. But I love decorating with them because they're free and they've got to be, trimmed back and cut down. Anyway, when I have the garland and I have these little Christmas trees on the outside of our house in the winter, even past the holidays, when it snows in January and February, I think it's really pretty. My family loves it when I decorate that way outside. That way when they come home, they see the garland and these little Christmas trees. When they are covered in a fresh blanket of snow, they just look so pretty. When you have decorations like that outside, it makes winter not seem quite as drab. That's why this is one of my absolute favorite ways to decorate. I don't feel like the garland or the little trees are too Christmassy to leave up for the winter months. I'm not gonna have time to get to making the garland today, but I do have time to drive down, get all the clippings that I need, and hopefully dig out a couple of cute little Charlie Brown trees. So let's get going. Wow, it has really been a while since I've driven down here. We didn't brush hog at all down this 2-track this summer, which we usually do, but we didn't get to it this year with building the house and everything. But my goodness, the grass has grown really, really tall. Oh, I think I'll park right here and grab a couple of these smaller trees. I don't know if you can see them. I'm just driving past a couple of them. Every year, it always astonishes me. I come down here to clip branches or dig up some trees and I think, oh, okay, I took quite a few last year. There probably won't be that many this year, and there's hundreds. Pines grow so fast. I'm excited I didn't have to go very far and I totally hit the jackpot. I'm gonna put my hat on. Time to get to work. I just got done digging out my 3rd tree. That root ball system was actually pretty heavy and I'm a little bit out of breath loading all 3 of those trees into the car, even though they were pretty tiny. But I'm gonna climb up over the hill over here. There are quite a few different pines down here that I can clip their branches, but there's also a few white pines up over the hill, and those I like because they're a little bit softer. When I'm making my garland and I mix them together, it's not just one type of pine over and over and over. Their stems are really flexible and they're less sticky, I find. I mean, maybe they're not, but I feel like they are. They're easier to work with. So if I can ever find those, I like to mix them in as much as I can. So I'm gonna grab my branch cutters and head back up the hill. We're gonna drive down a little bit farther because I would say my truck is maybe, I don't know, half full, and I'd like it to be very full. Basically overflowing. We're gonna drive down a little bit farther to the second set of hills here and gather some more. Oh my goodness. So even though I wore gloves, I'm still sticky because I was lifting a bunch of branches into the back of the truck and a bunch of them hit me in the face. And so now my cheeks are sticky and actually they feel a little scratched. Now that I've got everything that I need, I feel refreshed. There's nothing quite like working in, let's see, it's 44 degrees out and it feels like a crisp fall day. You can almost smell winter in the air. Now that I've cut a lot of boughs and dug up some trees and I have everything I need to make my garland, I'm feeling the Christmas spirit. Even though there's no snow, definitely feeling it. This time of year is so magical in northern Michigan. We have a lot of family traditions that take you back. My husband's side of the family all have horses and they have annual sleigh rides where they set up like hot cocoa bar and everyone brings cookies or goodies to share and we do family sleigh rides. And I'm talking like they go all out. The sleighs are beautiful. Some of them are vintage sleighs that they've refurbished and the horses have the bells on them and we have like blankets to keep us warm and it's just the best. I feel like I'm doing good this time of year if I can get all of the boughs cut and my garland made and the porch decorated before it snows. So it hasn't snowed yet, so I am a happy camper. Well, the weatherman was right. It's rainy, it's drizzly, it was so foggy this morning. So it's not at all a good day to make garland. I have some errands I have to run and I have a few things that I need to get for making the garland anyway. I looked through some of my stuff that I had. I do have enough rope, but I'm gonna grab some more floral wire just in case. I usually get the 22 gauge, so I'm gonna grab some of that while I'm in town and maybe look for a few other things. The main thing that I'm on the hunt for this year is some velvet ribbon. So let's head out and see what we can find. I'm gonna pop in a podcast because it is a little bit of a drive and I've got homemade coffee here with some raw milk in it. It is so good. I get it from my sister's farm. It's gotta be one of my favorites. I don't know if you followed Lisa from Farmhouse on Boone. She has a podcast. So I'm gonna pop on the next episode and get going. Well, I'm back home. I was able to find a few boxes of outdoor lights, which is great because I was running short on them last year. And I did find a little bit of velvet ribbon. This is a really pretty wine burgundy color. I got a few rolls of those. They actually only had, let's see, I think 4 of them there. So I grabbed all 4, and then I also grabbed a few more of this really thin velvet ribbon. I thought that was kind of pretty. And even though I did get 4 of each, I don't think this is gonna be enough. I like to decorate with ribbon, but I also plan on using it to wrap my Christmas presents, so I need a bunch more. I also grabbed a few of these battery operated candles. They're kind of like a dark reddish brown. I thought these would be pretty in my brass candlesticks on the table. I also grabbed some wrapping paper and some of that floral wire. So I am outside now. Today is the perfect day to make garland. It's not too windy. Typically on our hill it's so windy that if I were to put these branches out here in the pavilion, they might just blow away. We could have had snow for a month by now and we don't. So I am counting my blessings that we've been able to work on our new home build quite a bit. Normally I would make the garland a little earlier than I did this year. We've been so busy working on our house that I haven't had a lot of time. So I'm excited to be out here today, enjoying this beautiful weather and getting this garland made. Now, if you haven't seen how I make garland before, I do have a couple of videos explaining it and I have a blog post explaining it, but it is so straightforward. All you need are some snips and clippings from your yard. Go somewhere where they sell fresh Christmas trees. A lot of times they will trim the tree a little bit shorter for the customer, or they'll trim off a few of the bottom branches and they'll just have piles and piles of clippings. And a lot of places that we've went to over the years will just give those away for free. If you're somebody who likes to make fresh garland or wreaths to hang outside, those clippings would be perfect. And other than that, all you need is some floral wire. I've used 22 or 24 gauge before in the past, and so I've got some of that, and then some rope. I grabbed two different spools of rope this year. I grabbed this one that's 50 feet because our porch is 40 feet and I like to do a little bit of a swag. So one of the things that I do to get started is I tie the end of my rope to one of the table legs out here. These tables are 16 feet. They work great for making garland because I can take the end of my rope here and tie it around one of the legs, and that way when I'm kind of pulling and wrapping the wire, and it doesn't just slide across the table on me. You don't have to tie yours to a table leg, but as long as you've got something that you can kind of anchor one end down onto as you start making the garland, because then it won't be sliding or moving around on you. So the first thing I'm gonna do is put on some of my construction gloves. Because it's sunny out today and these pine boughs are getting a little sticky. So you can probably tell, but I've tied this rope down and around one of the table legs, and then here I took my floral wire, wrapped it around the rope a couple times and twisted it down on itself. Now I'm gonna grab a few branches and start adding them to this rope. And as I wrap, I'm never going to be cutting the rope, obviously, because that's my base, and I'm also not gonna be cutting any of the wire unless it snaps on me, which thankfully I've never had that happen, and it's always held up for months outside hanging on my porch. So this method has worked really well for me. I'm gonna show you how I get started, and what I'm gonna do is just trim off all of the little branches because I don't want to be using this whole stem here. So once I have that all trimmed off, gather up together. This one's cute. I love it when they have pine cones on them. And then I just kind of hold them with my left hand all bundled up like that, making sure that some of them are going down the center and the others are going off to the side. And then I take that rope in my left hand, and then I take the floral wire and wrap it around a couple of times, pulling pretty tight as I go. After I have it wrapped around a couple of times, I grab a few more branches and do the same thing. Now these ones here are a little too short, so I'm gonna grab some longer ones. Doing pretty good. I'm almost to the end of the table. Usually when I get to the end, I untie it from the table leg and then drag it out into the yard and then just keep moving until I have the length that I need. So I'm gonna keep working here. And so whenever I have a couple like little ugly ones that are just kind of straight and don't have a lot of give to them, I add a lot of really bendy, floppy ones to them. The straight ones kind of fill it up. If I add some that are really flexible, that gives it the movement that I want when it's hanging up. Oh my goodness. See what I mean? Like this one is the is shaped so funny, but if I add a few others to it, it'll kind of hide that. Every year, I tell myself, Dina, your garland is too big, it's too full, it's too fluffy, and it ends up being kind of heavy. And trying to lift, 50 feet up on the porch or even 100 feet on the garden fence, it gets to be a little too heavy to lift. So every year I tell myself, I'm gonna make it a little bit thinner, I'm not gonna make it so full and so thick. And what do I do every year? I still end up making it really full and really thick, but oh well. All right, so now I'm gonna drag some of this out, lay it in the grass, and then keep working. Well, that worked well. These ones are my favorite. Look how cute they are. They have little pine cones. So much garland has been made. I've got the first one done. I'm gonna grab a ladder and I'm gonna hang this up, and we have about an hour until dark, so I'm gonna get started on the second piece of garland that I want to hang over by the garden, but I probably won't get that done today unless I work into the dark out here. So maybe I'll just turn on the pavilion lights and keep working out here. I should be fine. I also forgot to show you, I planted all those little Charlie Brown trees that I dug up the other day in my planters on the porch and over by the garden and the chicken coop. And I think this year, maybe I'll make some like edible garland and hang it out here. Maybe popcorn, maybe cranberries, I don't know. But I think if I have time, I'm gonna try that. So I have two different ribbons here. I've got my 1 inch, and I think this one is 3 inches wide, and both are really pretty red velvet. I like them both, but I think I'm gonna use the 3-inch one to tie a bow on here. And then I think on one of the other sleds, I'm gonna add the skates. I don't need it to be perfect. I'm totally fine with it being a little floppy because this ribbon doesn't have any wire in it. So it's gonna be a little floppy, but that's a look I was going for. So this still feels a little bare. I think I'm gonna go get some more birch logs and add them in another potato crate, just like this one, but put one over there. I also want to hang a wreath on the door, and I also also want to drape some garland up and over the door. Maybe even add a string of fresh cranberries and decorate this little tree. I spent a little bit more time decorating before I got all my Christmas lights and I headed out to the garden area to string all the garland that I hung up on the fence. And I'm so glad that I did, because the very next morning it started snowing and it didn't let up. When I woke up this morning, it looked like we were living in a snow globe. I'm now very much in the Christmas spirit and I cannot wait to decorate inside. Thank you so much for following along, and please comment below if you end up making this garland. I would love to see what you came up with.